Hello, this is Philip Myers of PEM Consulting. This is Monday, 10/7/24, and Milton is about to slam Florida. Unfortunately, the API Tank Conference and Expo has been canceled, but it's the right thing to do considering the risks and hazards. I am posting the talk that I was going to give at the conference this week. Several other videos posted on LinkedIn provide a complete picture for API 653 Annex B, the edition that will be published regarding the laser treatment of scan data for analysis of settlement. Hello everyone, I'm Philip Myers. I would like to thank API, the steering committee, the organizers, and all of you folks for making this event happen, because we all benefit from it. I have worked on this change to API 653 for several years, and it has finally been approved by the SCAS committee for publication as of the last meeting, so I want to preview it for you. Tank bottom settlement failures tend to be catastrophic, but fortunately they are relatively rare. Once a bottom crack is initiated by settlement, a serious failure can occur. It's a vicious circle, as shown. The flow erodes the foundation, the bottom plate support is lost, and the bottom tears more due to loss of support. The flow increases and the cycle repeats. From the outset, I want to make it clear that the only settlement mode being affected by this change to Annex B of API 653 is differential settlement. So what's the motivation? Probably foremost is the fact that laser scan technology is here, and we need a good and appropriate way to incorporate the data into API 3 for settlement analyses. But I do want to mention that we have fixed other problems while rewriting Annex B. For example, we eliminated R² for determination of a tilt plane, which I will explain later. We incorporate a statistical method called adjusted R² for multiple regression, which helps to determine how many cosine terms there should be in the regression model without underfitting or overfitting the model. At the last meeting, the ballot was passed to publication. This means that there will appear in the next edition of API 653 the changes that I'm talking about now. The image you see is the actual ballot, which serves as a transition or markup between the current edition and the new edition. That is available on the GitHub website, which I will demonstrate later. In attempting to get this ballot to pass to publication, there were some committee members who were concerned that we were attempting to take something away from them. But I assure you, fear not, because none of the settlement methodologies in API 653 are being removed. We are simply adding a new methodology to allow for treatment of laser scan data. We are also explicitly stating that finite element analysis can be used to make a determination as to whether settlement is excessive or not. Finite element analysis is the gold standard that does a better job of structural analysis than any analytic method, but also can be very time-consuming and costly. A cosine curve represents a rigid tilt plane, as shown. In the top is a new level tank bottom. In the middle, the tank has tilted and settled as a rigid tilt plane. Interestingly, the cosine curve shows the degree of tilt. Note that the tilt does not induce any stresses into the tank. This is an oversimplification of a model of how differential settlement causes stress. To understand the model, you have to read the white paper that we have put on GitHub, and which I will demo later. I just want to comment that up until now, API 653 has relied strictly on analytic models for settlement. These are methods that were derived before computers had sufficient power to do numerical finite element analyses. Does that mean that analytic methods should be replaced by numerical methods? The answer is definitely not. Analytic models can handle whole classes of problems, whereas numerical methods are specific to each example that is being looked at. In addition, numerical models are typically far more time-consuming and costly to do than our analytic models. In any case, there is now more choice, and importantly, numerical models are now explicitly allowed for in the new annex. Here is a cosine curve of some real tank settlement data. Note how poorly the cosine fits the data because the bottom is not just undergoing rigid tilt, it is undergoing folding like a taco, which shows up as a cosine curve with twice the frequency as rigid tilt. The most common settlement modes are 2 modes, and sometimes a little 3 mode is there too. This is laser scan data with over 3,300 points that I will demo later. Here is the meaning of the various curves. The gray curve, this is the actual laser scan data. The black curve, this is the trigonometric regression fit. There are 21 different cosine frequencies. Each regression will have a different number of terms, but each regression will optimize the number of terms to prevent underfitting or overfitting the data. The red curve is the second derivative of the black curve. The second derivative is the curvature of the tank bottom due to settlement at the perimeter. As I mentioned earlier, this uses the same criteria that the analytic models of the original investigators, like Marr and others, developed for tank bottoms. The maximum curvature allowed is shown by the red dashed line. If the red solid line crosses the red dotted line, then you have 2 choices. Use the gold standard, in other words FEA analysis, or repair the tank bottom. The existing API 653 Annex B calls the tilt plane valid only if R squared is greater than 90%. This is incorrect, and we discussed this in the white paper. It has been removed. The Marr method is the main method, and Andreani's method is the only one used if the settlement is exceeded under Marr. However, Andreani's work is more current and is calibrated to real-world tanks so that we make it an option to use either method. We recommend the Andreani method as it is better, but some committee members insisted that we keep Marr. This shows what I've been talking about. You can now use sparse or dense data for settlement analysis. The flowchart shows you the flexibility that will be available to you. You can study this on your own. And ditto for this. Here are the written instructions for using the demo settlement program. If you want to analyze settlement for laser scan data, you can download the program which shows you how it works. It is coded in the simplest tutorial format as possible. You can add bells and whistles to it as you see fit. Thank you.